Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to this live session from Restart, especially focused on women looking forward to return to work after career breaks. I am Paresh Masade, founder and CEO of WOW. At WOW, we help like 1,000+ institutions across the country with their alumni relations, and we were always looking forward for avenues to help women, alumni specifically, and then we found that a lot of women find it difficult to return to work after career breaks, and we thought women alumni, how can we actually help women alumni? And that's where the program called Restart started. So we launched it on 8th of March on Women's Day, mainly focused on providing opportunities as well as guidance to all the women alumni who are looking forward to return to work. The first session, we had Sri Hamruda coming from, she was the founder of Mom Support and software engineer at Microsoft Seattle. She came in and helped understand specifically what does it take to return to tech world. And today we have another wonderful guest, Ms. Jayda Pandit, who is the director of Thought Leadership Initiatives at KPIT Technologies. Welcome to the session, Jayda. Maybe you can turn on your video. Yeah, Gagan, can you add the spotlight? Hi, Jayda, welcome. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you, Paresh. Thank you.
So let me take a couple of minutes to introduce Jayda. So Jayda has completed her bachelor's in engineering from Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, Pune, and went in to do to masters at ENST, a top-notch university, Ivy League University in France. She joined KPIT in 2004 and worked in both India and US and across various domains. So over the last 18 years, she worked across various functions and domains at KPIT. She's very passionate about diversity and inclusions, and mainly very keen at encouraging women in technology, especially the STEM in the STEM branches, right? And she's also founder of a social cause called Your Pursuit, basically where she helps young and talented women with part-time opportunities as well as mentoring, mainly to get a very good work-life balance. And last but not the least, she's also the mother of two awesome kids, and she's someone I feel is leading by example for all the women out there who are wanting to return to work. So Jayda, welcome and wonderful to have you here on the panel.
Thank you, Paresh. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Jayda, I would want to quickly, though the introduction was there, maybe a quick background about yourself and how do you see yourself in the corporate journey? Just a couple of lines from you would be nice.
So I think you've said so much, Paresh, that I'm going to have to probably add something that you've not already said. One thing that I would want to mention, which, we, since this is so much about women, I think most importantly, I would like to share thoughts before I introduce myself, which will also be relevant to men. Before we start the session, I think we should also let everybody know that this is whatever we are going to do as Restart or otherwise in this world. If it has to be done for men, women have to be as much a part of it. And if we have to do something for women, men as much have to be part of it. So I saw some questions coming up on, is this only relevant for women? What I would want to say to you is, whatever I would say, I'm hoping that you would see some relevance for yourself as well. Now, coming to my introduction, like we joke in our family and say that I'm one of the three daughters who's raised by my parents to think like a man and act like a woman. And somewhere breaking the biases and going beyond barriers is what I attribute a lot to that kind of upbringing I have been very fortunate to have. Where you spoke about my education, and I have again been fortunate to spend substantial time on the tech side as well on the management side, both in India as well as abroad. When I came back to India, I joined my family business, which is on technology, as hardcore manufacturing on the shop floor as it can get. I have spent most of my childhood growing up on the shop floor more than anywhere else. I joined KPIT about 18 years back, and I have been lucky enough to play roles across the line of businesses, across industries, across geographies. Currently, of course, like you said, part of what we do for branding, for marketing, for thought leadership initiatives within the world of mobility.
Nice. That's really nice. So, Jeda, maybe we'll have the format of this session. We'll put it like I'll ask a couple of questions and would like to know your views and thoughts on those. And then we will get into questions by all the participants. So, participants, please post your questions in the Q&A panel. I will take those questions as we discuss. So, we'll probably take about 30 minutes where I will have some questions and I'll chip in your questions wherever I can. Right. So, maybe first question that I would like to know mainly from the company's perspective, right? So how do companies look at women wanting to come back to work? Like, so basically there's a career break and women wanted to come back. What is company's perspective usually for that?
So I think, Paresh, like in most of the industries, companies as well today are at the crux of a fair amount of change. I think the attitude or the perspective of looking at people coming back from break, I wouldn't say just women, whether it is men wanting to change paths and change careers, or
Right.
it is women who are wanting to come back after a break.
Hmm.
Initially, I think years back, we have all seen who've been in the industry for a very long time. It was difficult to be able to see value and the sense of commitment in somebody who is coming back. And for multiple reasons, right? For nobody knew if the person could give their 100% while they got back. Nobody was sure if that meant that work would be only part-time, would it be full-time, what if it is a role that demands travel, so on and so forth. But I think things as much are changing at home. Support structure is as much coming up at home. And end of the day, what's a company, right? I mean, companies beyond what we see in Belgium glass ceilings and Italian marbles on the floor. It is more the talent, it is more people, it is society who makes companies. So what we see around is what reflects in how the company thinks as well. So companies are also seeing the value, and end of the day, everybody recognizes that talent is really beyond genders. Brilliance does not come in a particular gender. Brilliance does not come in a particular, lifespan. It's not that a fresher is the only one who's going to be more brilliant than somebody who's coming back after 10 years, or it's not that it's only the experience and a fresher will not have that. I think everybody recognizes that the world is moving, things are changing, companies, talent is talent. You could be a fresher, you could be somebody who's had 10, 20 years of experience, you could be a man, you could be a woman, you could be a mom, you could be a dad, you could be a grandfather, for all you know, you could be anything. As far as you are talented and you bring value to the table, I think that's what matters end of the day. So things within companies, yeah. For certain companies, it is seen a lot more as compared to others. Every company is at a different stage of the curve, right? There are some who are still just starting out, just seeing the value. There are some who have done policies in the past and learned from policies at work, learned from policies that did not work. There are some who've been doing it for ages and so probably are completely equipped to know how exactly do you run the processes to while you welcome people back on board. So everybody is at a different stage of the spectrum. What is important is that everybody's on board now.
Right. And we see that happening because most of the companies actually are also changing their perspective, because what you said is really valid. The companies are today more receptive towards anyone coming with a career break as well. And like that's more accepted today. Now, from a company perspective, what would be their challenges? Like, why would someone, like when a company is looking forward for someone coming off a career break, what are the things that they look at? One is talent, of course, but is there other some challenges that the companies, so from a company's perspective, what are their issues that they face for someone coming from a career break? Is it commitment? Is it what exactly would that?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't put it as what are the challenges we face. I think what we would look at is what do we seek in anybody who's out there who's looking for an opportunity with the company, right? And number one is skill set. If we are hiring for a particular skill set, it's obvious that that kind of skill set is what the company would be seeking for. Two, talent. Different roles in the company demand different set of attributes and skill sets that the person can bring. So end of the day, what we look for is what you can bring to the table, right? While companies on a really fast path of growth, At
Right.
least KPIT, we've always believed about growing together, right? We are in it together when it comes to talent, when it comes to clients, when it comes to our partners, we are all in it together. So what can you bring to the table? What can you offer to the company, while we also give you the kind of growth path that you would like to have as you either are restarting or starting out, either ways.
Right. So this is something coming back to the same question of skills, right? So because there are many women who probably take career breaks probably pretty longer than expected, and in that meantime, the previous job they worked with is may not be relevant today, or the skill set they had was probably entirely changed. So what do you think? How should they prepare themselves when they wanted to start back the career? What kind of skills they should get prepped up with? Or not specifically in particular skill, but in general, how should they prepare themselves?
So two things that I tell moms frequently who are wanting to come back to work, or anybody who is again wanting to change their career path midway and wanting to do something else, right? If you want to get something that you've not had, you've got to do something that you've not done before, right? So if you are looking at getting into a completely different domain, for example, right? I think the learning and that continuous learning is important while you start maneuvering towards a domain that you want to get into. It's never a switch overnight, right?
Right.
That has to be, if you want to do well in the new role that you take up, it's essential that you put in some time to actually start prepping towards it. And I think understanding what skill set is needed while you are trying to get into a particular domain, a particular industry, whether it is tech, whether it is not tech. Maybe you have been into tech and you want to move away from tech, or you have been into tech, but you want to get into, you've not been looked at AI before, you've not looked at autonomous driving when people come to us and they want to, get into a field that they've not been part of before. I think that ground homework of what it takes to actually go where you want to be and start maneuvering on those skills earlier on.
Right.
Now, skills, interestingly, when we talk about skills, most of the times the skill sets understood are, do I know my C++? Am I equipped with, what it takes to do my work? However, what it takes to do your work will get covered. What it takes to do your work well is what is not to be missed out. And that would be a mix of soft skills and the kind of skills that you actually need on job. So I think to, be aware of that, to do your groundwork on that, to not lose the touch. A lot of times what we see is people returning to work after a long gap, more than anything else, it's just of confidence. They're really, really good, but they've just not been into the environment for very long and been so involved on the other front for too long that it's important that the touch is not lost. So I think for anybody who feels that I want to get into a particular domain at some point, or I want to do something different at some point, that bit of continuous learning needs to keep going. And even at KPIT, we have 7 behavioral parameters that we go by, and we encourage every single individual, every KPIT to have that. One of them is continuous learning. And individually, me and so many others have actually seen the actual value in just being a continuous learner. You could learn anything. You could learn something new. If you don't know what you want to get into, that's fine too. Not everybody knows which is the field they want to pick. There are some who really do. There are some who want to try out 2-3 things and then see what really fits well, which is fine. Either ways, that bit of continuous learning has to happen. Can you spend 20 minutes every Sunday doing something you've not done before? Can you spend 1 hour over the weekend learning something you have not learned before? I think just that little bit of continuous learning, if it can be part of everybody's day and weekends and week, I'm sure it helps in the long run.
And this looks like it's not only for women wanting to return to work, it's probably for everyone as well, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, for even the freshers and the college students who are probably wanting to start their careers, this is probably something that you would want to take in. Jada, just a follow-up question for that. Do you see companies also looking forward to support this kind of, like say someone has a break and who are not very comfortable, mainly maybe the confidence level, right? So what are there initiatives companies take to help women return to work? If not a full-time direct job, or what kind of things? Because we've been seeing returnships coming in a lot of companies today. So what is the company? How can companies actually facilitate this?
Sure. So I think, like I said, different companies are at different stage of the spectrum. There are some which is just starting out and seeing the value and the talent in, if you take the example of moms coming back to work, right? And they're seeing the value that comes with that talent, right? And be it even after a break, there is definitely what they can do is what they can do. Where they can contribute, they can contribute. And I think companies are beginning to see that. There are few who already have policies in place. For example, at our end, we are trying out different things, right? Even at KPIT, we've evolved over time. 13 years back when I had my oldest son, I did not have him in India. He was born in the US, and we did not at that time have a policy for moms going on maternity leave. There every state has a different policy, and where I was, there was none. And so I had to actually go on a sick leave for that one day when I went into labor. But by the time I had my second one, who is 8 today, there was a proper policy put into place where there was a support structure where our HR actually came forward to make sure that, I'm enabled with what I need to be enabled with to go on break. So what can companies do? I think it starts with awareness.
Right.
Just acknowledging the fact that talent is talent, no matter in which zone of their journey of life talent is, right from freshers to post-retirement, wherever they stand, whether it is mom, whether it is women, whether it is men, all of them, acknowledging and being aware of it. Two, of course, supporting through policies, right, which we try to do. And policies can be in multiple ways. What we are also trying to structure at our end is, can we look at having specific policies geared around promotions? A lot of women tend to complain that their promotions come in late as compared to their men counterparts. So can you have that issue addressed? That's also what we look at. For the ones who cannot be promoted for whatever reasons, then can we actually help with a skill set that they can build on? We have a complete training center at modules and centers internally developed within KPIT to help at different journeys of an individual, right from freshers to beyond. What kind of training would help whom at what point? And try to enable the individual with those kind of skill sets and upskilling and training right there to make sure that they are aligned to where the need is going. So can companies do that? Companies can absolutely do that. We are doing it. There are so many more who are also doing it. But when you mention confidence, when you say what can companies do about confidence, I think like any other relationship out there, it's a two-way path.
Yes.
I think for especially moms who are coming back to work, I think the drive has to be within to really want to, go out there, get out of the comfort zone, give it a shot, and believe in oneself. I think once you start believing in yourself, others automatically start believing in you.
Right. So I remember last session that we did with Shri was what Mums Who Code. So what she does is very interesting. She creates a community of women who want to restart specifically in tech industry, and it was a peer group, no formal thing. They do a peer group kind of thing when they come together, put up what kind of projects they want to build on, more of a learning, and then that gets them confidence. So she says that within a couple of months, they actually get back and they can actually put their GitHub profile as a resume, which you can actually showcase. So kind of projects they can do. So what can companies support such kind of peer support? Because support groups play a very important role. So any thoughts on that? How can companies actually create support groups there? Because this is going to be a critical part, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think because diversity and inclusion is being picked up by companies, I think since the awareness in itself is growing now, we cannot have a better time to actually put this out and put out very well structured ways of doing it. So one thing that we have done internally within KPIT, we have World of Women, which is curated by women for women within the company. This goes beyond the skill sets. It also addresses, so where women come together and connect over issues, over skills required, upskilling required, soft skills required. Maybe you're dealing with a particular situation or scenario and you would like to discuss it with somebody. It's more of an informal mentoring program, but which is more peer-to-peer. So you do, and it's a good mix of senior women on it, as well as, freshers on it, where they can learn from each other, when they can talk to each other. I think now even more than ever, it has become important, because at 3 years back, or 2 years back, we could all get together for a quick coffee during work, and, everybody could share, right? Women and men alike. Everybody talked and shared their issues and talked about situations and took help. Now it's even more important to do that virtually. And so we try to connect virtually over different groups where people have forums to reach out and voice the concern. I think that is what, we focus on as step one. Can we enable the platform for people to talk? Can we enable the platform for people to share their issues and voice? Can we share, celebrate success in its own way? Like, people want to share issues. They also want to know what worked and why it worked and how it worked. And again, for men and women alike, right? They would love to have learnings on an ongoing basis. Not everybody is going to be able to pick out a chunk of time to do separate learning. So we are trying to have those integrated through smaller forums where people get to connect, either team-wise or geography-wise, and have that enabled for people.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And I think I can add a point here, basically for all the women looking forward to return, because we have seen, we work with alumni communities, and these are the best communities that you can rely on for support, because when you form a group of your own seniors and juniors to support yourself, these are very unbiased. You can have unfiltered conversations with them without even thinking you will be judged or something. So you can reach out to your alumni committee, form a small group of women alumni who are probably working and who want to return to work, and start your own community. And this, I think, will actually work wonders if you're looking forward for that skill set, and maybe a space where you need a support system, basically. And support groups work really wonderfully well. So thanks, Jeda, for that point where companies actually looking forward. So Jeda, again, the question goes back. I would want to understand, this is a bit more personal, but I would want to understand your personal journey as well, because you are a mother of 2 kids, right? So, and how was it difficult or easy? What were the thoughts going on in your mind when you were looking forward to return to work? You're on mute, Jed, I guess.
Yeah. So, I always said this, that it's not hard. It's very, very hard. But on a serious note, right? I think it's acknowledging the fact that if you want to grow, you've got to get out of your comfort zone.
Right.
And I think all of us as humans, whether we are moms or otherwise, we are to a large extent a sum of our choices, right? So when we choose to have a child and become a mom, when we choose to come back to work, when we choose to pick a certain kind of work that we want to do, when we choose to say no for the kind of work we do not want to do, I think these are the choices that sort of build up, and lay the foundation for us to be whom we want to be in the future. So as far as, when I had my elder one, I was in the US, handling a couple of our automotive accounts there. Two things, that I think made a big difference then, and I think they are still making a difference now. One, having great people to work with at work. Right. I think having, for every woman out there, having the kind of manager who actually empathizes with what you are trying to juggle and what you're trying to balance at home as well at work makes a big difference. And it does not mean sympathize with you when you're going through rough patches. It just means to have that empathy and understand, so you're equipped with the kind of support you need to be equipped with. Women are strong enough to handle what is needed. I don't think what is needed is strength. What is needed is the support system. So coming to the second part, that has again helped me both times, while I had the older one, while I had the younger one in India, as well as now while they're growing up. While one is the team and the manager you work with, they are the people you work with at work. Two, I would definitely say figuring out a support system at home. This does not mean grandparents always, because, invariably when you say support system, people assume, okay, one of the mothers on the two sides is actually given this job of doing it. And I individually feel it's very unfair to push it on them. They have brought up their children, they've done their job, they need not bring up ours now. Right? They are there to support us, but they're not there to do our job. But what's that support system that I can fall back on when needed? It could be a friend who, picks up your child from school when you are not able to do it and you're at a meeting. It's probably your spouse, if he is available, who can, do a doctor's visit in case of an emergency, if you're unable to step out. It is probably having somebody to back you up at home if you need to be on a call and yet do the cooking on one side. Right. So I think it is different ways in which you could figure out a support system. You can figure out a great support system at work, having the kind of team member who backs up for you when you are unable to show up for a particular thing that is needed at work, right? So it's your support system at work as well as support system at home, and not forgetting that you are somebody else's support system as well in the whole process, right? So it's the entire ecosystem that, can come together to actually help each other and push each other up in the whole journey, so that it's collective growth as we go up. So I think that's two things, which I reiterate, which have enabled me to come, even this far while handling both kids at home and work. However, somewhere, I think this has been the balance, the mom balance has been talked about so much over the past years. I think now more than ever before, I think it is high time we turn this, the mom battle into mom balance. I think we are better. We probably have, it's not easier than what the earlier generations had, but it's different, it's equipped differently than what the earlier generations were equipped to pull off, right? So keeping that in mind, I think the empathy levels also outside have gone up. I think pandemic has been a great teacher, right? For everybody, for individuals, for companies, for families. I think the whole perspective of work from home has made a huge jump and change in how people looked at it earlier and how people look at it now. I mean, everybody can work from home, and people have somewhere where earlier work from home was considered a taboo for anybody who, talked about it. Today, it's the talking point, right? It's as efficient as it can get. So that's changing too. I think if from my personal learnings, I would say two things, figure out your support system while you are your biggest strength. I think important to figure out the support system at work and at home.
Sure, that's really good. So there's a question from the participants from Shubhangi. So this is a question I think will be common for a lot of people as well. I belong to construction industry and I'm on career break for the last 4 years. I don't feel welcome in my sector. So yeah, this is specifically in construction sector. But like, how do you say, like, should other industries open up, or should she start looking out for jobs in IT sector? Or IT or any other sector which is looks more comfortable at least. I don't know, but what would be your perspective as a guidance?
So I would have two thoughts on this. One, Shubhangi, I don't know why you are waiting to feel welcomed, wherever you go, right? Be it the construction industry, IT, automotive, mobility, fashion, whatever you want to do, right? Nobody needs to, if you have to look at it individually from the woman's perspective, from your perspective, I think you should look at being in a position where you welcome others. You do not need to feel welcomed, and I don't think you should wait to feel welcomed anywhere, right? So if you want to do it, you want to do it. If they have a problem welcoming you, it's okay, they'll deal with it. There are some industries more than the others where they are more male dominated. They have been male dominated over the years, but at the same time, there are women who are breaking those barriers, right? So the question is not whether you feel welcomed or you don't feel welcome. The question is, what do you want to do? Do you want to continue being part of that industry because you feel you can add value and it can actually take you to the place that you want to be in the future? Then you still do it, welcomed or not welcomed. You will do well and you will welcome others, for all men and women alike. Whether you should look at other avenues, to explore, I think, sky is the limit. If this is not what you want to do, and you have some skill sets that you have already within the construction field, which you can take and build on as you go into the other field, don't wait. You can definitely do that. I think the question is, which is the play you want to play? So choose your game and play well.
Yeah. That's a very powerful answer, Jayada. Thanks for that. I think really loved the way saying you don't need to be welcomed actually. So Jayada, there's another question again from audience when they submitted the questions. So is there a template of valid reasoning on career break? Should they say something else or can they just say as is? So how do they react when question is asked about the career break?
No, I wish there was a template to life, Paresh. There is no template to life. We have to make and create our own lives and our own templates. I personally feel honesty helps. If you are going on a break for no matter what reason, it could be because you have chosen to be a mother. It could be that you didn't choose, but you are going to be a mother. It could be you want to take some time off. You have been working hard and there's a phase of burnout and you want to, take some time off and think through, and internalize a little bit and spend time with yourself and figure, is this the path you want to continue being on? Or there's something else you want to do. It could be you want to go on a sabbatical, right? You want to probably take a break and go upgrade your skills, and you want to get into a learning program for a year or two. And so you want to go do something else. It could be you want to explore, photography for a year. And that is fine. But I think just being honest about it, that you are taking a break for so and so reason and you would value to come back. What I personally would do in this situation is also sort of give a little idea on how you plan to use that break. In a way, with a skill set that would open up avenues of coming back if I would like to tomorrow. I might try out something which might not work out for me, and I might want to come back. So am I going to also, meanwhile, use the time to upskill myself on something that the company would value 2 years from now or 1 year from now? Am I getting into an educational program which is going to, if nothing, bring in more value to the table from my end for the company? Can I do that? And that's how I would look at it. I would be honest about why I'm taking a break and what kind of break I'm getting into. Two, if I want to keep my option of coming back someday open, I would look at, what are the 4 things I'm going to do to upskill myself and bring in even better value in the future.
Right. So another similar question, maybe also again from a compass perspective. So what should a woman wanting to come back after a career break think about the compensation packages? Should they look out for a similar salary as such, or how should they really look at this? Because they want to really negotiate. So is it on a lower end? They should be on a, because I'm getting an opportunity to work. How would they match the skill set or something? So what should be the perspective when you're approaching a company with which is offering you a job?
So first, I'm going to answer this as a woman, and then I'm going to answer this from company point of view.
All right.
Or somebody who's seeking. One, I think it is high time that whether it is women or it is men, stop having a price tag attached to you and start moving towards, what's the value you bring. I think if that whole attitude changes internally, it also comes across when we speak to recruiters, when we speak to about opportunities to companies, or just, to our peers, right? End of the day, it's not that label of price tag that is latching on to you day in and day out. Right? Because if you are going to be restricted by just that figure, which is, clinging on to you, I don't think you will ever be able to move towards value, which is actually the real part of who you are and who you might want to be. Right? So I think any conversation with a recruiter or with a company, with a peer, need not start with the price tag that is labeled on to you. It need not. I think the whole conversation should be about what's the value you bring to the company, What's the value you seek from company? Maybe there's a particular growth chart that you are seeking. There is a particular domain experience that you are seeking. There is a certain kind of exposure, geography exposure that you're looking forward to. You want to probably work in a particular front-ending role, or you might want to be on the creative side, and how does that come together beautifully as a jigsaw puzzle, where there is win-win across the table for you as well as for the company, as you grow together and achieve the goals and targets that the company is looking at achieving, while you as an individual are also achieving, right? Now, in this entire conversation, what is that price tag that you are going to label to me on my forehead really should not feature.
Right.
I would not look at it that way. As far as making sure that you get the kind of, you take home what you would like to take home in terms of salary, I think everybody does their homework, right? Everybody has a sense of which skill set and which grade in which company, which role, has what's an approximate range that is out there. Companies are also aware that talent is seeking a particular range, right? Depending on where you stand in terms of your skill sets and how well you are and what kind of value you're going to bring. Different companies have different ways of either starting at the lowest range or taking a bet on your potential and starting a little higher. And, you have that little range to play around with. But again, I think the whole idea is not what's the number, it's what's the value.
Sure. So this is another question from audience. This is something interesting again. This is from Urvi. She says, after my post-graduation, I founded a startup. 5 years down the line, my company made a loss and I sold off my company. For 1 year, I kept thinking about my next startup project. Nothing seemed to be feasible now. And I'm wanting to work as an employee now. So question that I'm struck with is, which company, which position, which field? Like, how should you choose? So yeah, that's the question.
So before I answer, how should you choose? My congratulations, Urvi. I'm very proud of people who have the courage to try something new. I'm very proud of people who fail after trying out something new. And I'm even more proud of people who actually have the courage to acknowledge that failure. Because in my opinion, like I've always said, your best teacher is your last failure. So take those lessons, dust yourself, get up and move on. So congratulations. I think you've come a great journey with great learnings, and what you have today in your kitty is rich learnings, which probably somebody who's only been working does not have. You are starting out with an edge, which others are not, which is, I think, a great start already. Coming to, what you should do. I think it is also about what you really want to do. I'm sure there are companies out there who would love the entrepreneurial spirit that you bring to the table. When you go out and seek even a role in any company, what I would suggest you do is highlight what you have because of this experience of the startup not having done well. What are the top learnings and how is it that it enriched you? The experience enriched you a lot more than somebody who's not done that, right? You probably know how to deal with failure today. You have a great entrepreneurial spirit, which not everybody does. You are pulling a team together. So you're already a team leader in your own way. You know how to own your failures and then still move on, right? Which is so important. Failure is one of the most integral parts of the journey of success, and you already know how to deal with it, which is great. So highlight the things that you have based on your experience so far, and jump into the industry that you may like to get into. I think it's the sky is yours.
Sure. So I think I can add a couple of things to this, Urvi. From a perspective of WOW, at least, I think we have about 6 of the failed entrepreneurs in our company. So whenever someone comes telling me that I failed, and I think the one in the panel as well right now who is coordinating, Gagan, he's leading our success initiatives, who also was an entrepreneur who failed and he's now leading the entire vertical with us. So I think it's high time. Like most of the companies are welcoming anyone who has tried and failed. So you will be welcomed like anything. Because you have seen the entire journey of how company works. I think that's a huge value. You just need to position yourself and see what you look at. I think the answer Jeda already gave you is you need to figure out what do you want. And I think there are many different companies that will fit in. So there's another question. from Deepesh Goel. So this is a question that says skills cannot be acquired by just learning online, and there is on-the-job learning requirement which can happen only if internship opportunities are available for experienced professionals on break. So before they are inducted in an organization. So what's your view on this? Specifically, how can companies give them some on-the-job experience before they restart? Specifically.
So again, right, playing on what has been your positives from what you're talking about, somebody who has already been in certain part of the journey with certain experience equipped there, and now wanting to do something different. But I'm sure there are learnings of what you've already done, which is going to bring value to the second innings of what you're trying to do there. So how can your first innings actually translate into what you can bring to the second innings? And can you actually throw substantial light on that value that you will bring when you speak about a possibility of internship to any recruiter or any company that you're going out to? I feel there are umpteen opportunities out there. Talent is what companies seek day in and day out, right?
So,
And
Jayda, to just interrupt you, I think there are a lot of internship opportunities also companies are offering. So how do they work? Do you have any idea on how do they work? Or basically their companies offering returnships for women to work for about a couple of months before they actually absorb them. You're mute again, I think, Jayda. We lost you.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So again, I think, it is invariably, I think it is skill set based hiring that happens when it comes to internships, right? For example, when we have looked at internships for individuals within our team as well, we have looked at creative people who can bring in interesting content put together in a very creative manner when it comes to branding, for example, and at that time we have had some women come back as within their break time, because they came with a particular combination of skill set of, for one, being able to put together the messaging very well when it came to communication, and being able to tie that up to the brand value that you want to communicate through that communication, right? And so we have had women come back with those internships. It really depends on what kind of role you're trying to get into. Are you trying to get into the creative side? Are you trying to get into the tech side? Are you trying to get into a pure skill set based hiring, which can be location agnostic, but it is online, it is coding, and you just want to try and do that? Invariably, what companies seek is a combination of skill set and talent, and there is complete cognizance to the fact that unless you are on job, you are not going to get the complete skill set. Right. But there is a baseline understanding of the needed skill set. That is what is looked at, and as far as that is there, I think companies are open to taking the right candidates.
Sure. And there's another specific question again from Gayatri. She says 98, so must be her graduation year or something. So I'm a civil engineer and I spent major part of my life in Saudi Arabia, where women are not allowed to work in engineering field. Since past 4 years, we are placed in Dubai, and at the age of 43, I started my career not knowing where to turn myself or where would be the right professions. So I love to be in the construction industry, but considering my age and lack of experience, it's difficult to get through. So currently I'm working in sales and project approvals. So yeah, that question is maybe any advice for her specifically looking forward to get through the construction industry again?
No, so a couple of things, I'm sure it works a little differently in the construction industry as compared to the way it works at our end. But I think I personally see a couple of positives right there. One, 43. So the fact that you're equipped with the experience and the maturity that experience brings to handle situations. I think you can play on your USPs of soft skills there if it is a completely different industry. At the same time, you have your base of civil engineering, right? You have that education to back that up. So again, I think what you can add on to that is the fact that you have your education, you have the soft skills added to it that can actually help you maneuver through situations. And then to probably look at what is it today that the construction industry demands, if that is what you want to get into. What is it that they would, in any industry, right? And especially for mothers who are trying to come back after a gap. It is about identifying where is your play? Right? There are enough men and enough women doing enough jobs out there.
Right.
At the same time, there is a lot that is happening in the market today. There is a lot happening in industries today. You know, industries are going through paradigm shifts. You know, they're going through evolutions that we have not seen in 100 years before. And yet we stand at the crux of complete movement into different avenues. So while there are enough people doing what they are doing, there is always a fresh requirement that comes up, which is probably not equipped in the existing team, right? Can you play on that part of it? You know, what is it that I would start out by listing out what is it that you have as a starting point? You know, what is it that you can offer? Map it to what is the gap you see within the construction industry, right? And once you map it, you're ready with what you want to say as your pitch for yourself.
Yes. Just scrolling through the question. There's not a question. This is from Pooja Maragi. She says that, hi, this is not a question. It's my experience. I'm also a return to work professional, automobile engineer by graduation. After 2.5 years of maternity grad, I started finding a job and had made my mind to get into a core mechanical project. I tried till I succeeded, and now I'm working in Bosch with mechanical engineering project itself. So it's up to you how you work hard to reach your goal and without giving up the perseverance. So that's really good to know, actually. And your thoughts, Jayada, on that, Pooja. I think that's a good way she's presenting herself as an example. And Pooja, I think again you're on mute. Is that you're going on mute in between? Yeah. Back.
No, absolutely. I completely. You know, it is definitely a combination of hard work. And what I would add as smart work that you would want to put in to actually get where you want to get. Anybody going on break and coming back, I think you are, from my experience, I can say at least 3 times more efficient than what you were when you went on break. It just adds to your skill set. You learn to multitask like nobody else. You learn to make your choices and give your 100% while you are at a particular thing, because you know you have to get back to something else at a particular time, right? If I have to pick up my child at 3 p.m. from school, I'm going to make sure that I have given my best before 3, and then I'm going to pick him or her up, right? So I think you become 3 times more efficient. You learn to multitask. You learn to give your 100%. You are way more committed because you yourself feel the ownership of doing well, since it's your choice to do it and to make sure that you do not fall short on any front. So definitely, I think it's a combination of hard work and smart work. And congratulations, Pooja. Good to know you're doing well.
And Pooja, the stories like yours should actually come out, and people, the moment a lot of people start listening to them, right, they will also feel that, hey, if Pooja can, I can also do that, right? So it's something that you should probably come out and probably have a peer group session. If possible, we would want to invite you as well for a more informal session where we get a bunch of women who want to return back and pay group. So please drop in your credentials in the group. I think you are already connected. Let us know, and we would want to welcome you again. Yeah, so there's another question by Preeti. I think we have another 10 minutes, but yeah, we'll try to quickly look at. I have 5 years of experience in IT. After that, I have taken a career break. In my career break, I have started my venture, but it was in non-tech. Now I want to re-enter the IT, and I have 10 years of career break. And where do I start? This is again a very specific question. Yeah.
Right. I think for anybody who wants to, you know, who comes up with where do I start, in my opinion, it goes to where do you want to go? You know, you first, I think, look at where do you want to go with a specific timeline in mind, and then sort of backtrack and make your plan on where you need to start today so that you can go towards that side, right? IT, a lot of skill set based hiring that happens within IT. So you can look at, if you do not have those skill sets within the last 10 years, I think start with upskilling yourself. Start with, you know, getting into the groove of, you know, where do things stand within IT today, and what are the skill sets that would be on top demand today, and quickly try and upskill yourself to get there, and then, you know, get in. So I think it all depends on where we want to go, and start backtracking with today on just quickly upskilling yourself and start moving in that direction. Yeah. One important thing would be to not wait.
Yeah. So, and this is a similar question again by Likita. She also says that she worked in an IT startup company as an implementation engineer and had a long career break for 3 years, right? So the question is like, not where to start exactly, but what kind of position should I apply for, or do I want to do a course? Again, looks like she's also confused with that to select a course or the field. So is there some kind of method that we can say for anyone who's, you just definitely mentioned about where do you want to go is where you start with, but like, how do they find out that as well? Is there because that's probably looks like a question. How do they find out where do they want to go?
I think talking to people within, one of the ways to start out would be look at the companies that you want to be part of, right? And if you are clear on the logos you want to associate yourself with, or the companies where you feel that they are very welcoming, more welcoming than others when it comes to opportunities, not being making you felt welcome there, but who are more out there to looking at talent and putting opportunities out there a lot more frequently, because they're growing and business is growing, and there's opportunities there look much better than elsewhere. I think try and understand what could be the needs that are coming up. Today we have multiple forums out there, including social media, where you have a lot of information. Doing the homework and the groundwork to begin with is the starting point, because what is it that is happening there? Which are the clients they are probably associated with? Who are the partners they are working with? That would give a clear idea on the kind of skill set that is needed within IT or within engineering that you want to look at. And then if you see that you do not have that skill set, then you upskill yourself and on that particular front, and then go ahead. So I think understanding the playing field a little bit. Who are the ones you would like to in India more than anywhere else? I think we have different kind of opportunity mix is how I put it, right? And I think it is up to us, whether it is IT or engineering or construction or any other field, to understand where is that field moving. Right? Where is that industry going towards? Where do you see the movement over the next 5 years? And once you understand where the movement is going, you will automatically understand what are the kind of needs that are going to trickle down because of those industry drivers. I think once you get a hang of that, skill set is something that can be acquired. The base understanding and groundwork is what one needs to work on.
Right. So I think we are almost ending time. There are two questions. One is a comment and as a question. I think we'll just take them and then we'll close. So one is, this is from Prabhavati. It's more of an example. Again, she's sharing that her story. So hi, I am Prabha. I got married at the age of 18. But I wanted to study. So I did my UG in business management, had a gap of 4 years, and then did my PG. Now I'm working as a lecturer at NIT doing my PhD. We should be courageous enough, have good attitude and willingness to do. So that's really awesome to know about that, Prabha. And yeah, Jeda, your comments on that.
Very nice to know, Prabha. Congratulations. Definitely, I think courage plays a big role. We've said this before, and I think I would reiterate it, that if we have to shatter glass ceilings, I think the ceilings are in our mind more than anywhere else. So let's use the courage to break all the barriers within ourselves. And I think breaking the ones outside is a lot more easier once that's done.
So there's another interesting question here. Hello, I am BTech Electrical and Electronics Engineering with 33 years of experience in fire and safety field. I am a partner and director in Hyderabad-based company. Past 2 years, due to surgery, I took a retirement as a full-time director. As I am recovered now, would like to share my experience in this field to engineering students. Right, I am 60 plus, so would like to know if there's opportunity for fire safety systems in engineering colleges is mandatory for awareness for students. So basically, maybe it's a comment from someone called Tata Lakshmi. So really great to know that again. Yeah.
I think wonderful to know that. I'm sure, there would be institutes who could benefit from such rich knowledge that is there and from the experience that is there. One of the things that everybody, whether in colleges, whether it is alumni, whether it is freshers in the company, everybody looks forward to learnings from such rich experiences. So I'm sure there will be, an opportunity to actually come back when, while, that's being shared. Maybe I could share a little piece, like when I started out with Your Pursuit, the initiative 8 years back. I actually did that when my younger one was born and I was on maternity leave. And I realized there was something that needed to be done, not just for mothers, but also for men who were looking at taking career breaks and looking at changing paths and looking at coming back to different fields and different opportunities. And at the same time, what we had was a section on how we could actually leverage the rich experiences of anybody and everybody who's retired, but still has so much to give to the society, right? And that's when we launched this initiative, and we had several retirees who we could engage in a way that brings happiness to them and brings value to the society. There were some whom we looked at, some veterans to be involved in schools, in daycare centers. From Processes point of view, we've done that. We have got them involved on the technology front. So an entire gamut of things that were done. I think it's a great experience, tech or not tech, it's a great experience. And I'm sure that there would be multiple avenues out there to benefit from it.
Sure, thanks. And really good to know about Your Pursuit as well, because I didn't know that before we met. Actually, this is when I was reading your profile. That's when I came to know about that. That's really nice. Right. So this one, I think we'll take a last question and then we will close the session. This is a question from Deepak. Again, this is revolving around probably mainly the stress part. I'll just summarize the question. So Deepak says, my sister was previously working with IT, but after becoming a mother of a child, she became probably there was some health issues and she took a break. And the question is more about she's undergoing with a lot of stress, and how should you avoid stress? And I will probably extend that question also, Jayda, is like, how can we actually look at it even in terms of mental health, right? Because this is a question that comes across every time. And mainly, again, work from home, you don't have people to interact with. How do people actually handle this? And this is probably specifically from mother's perspective, if you can add, that will be nice.
Sure. So I think a very, very important topic today, right? Mental health, especially after the 2 years of pandemic and being in lockdown and people not seeing each other, whereas man, end of the day, is a social animal, right? And we've somewhere been locked out completely and things are just about opening up. But it's been harsh for everybody. Couple of things that I feel have benefited some people around me as well as me, and maybe few learnings that could be done from that and taken away. And I think maybe we can categorize, what can individuals do, what are companies doing, and I think what we can do as a society as a whole to take those stress levels down. So one, I will start with individuals, right? I think figuring out the passion and the purpose in what is being done, I think is very important, because invariably we all get caught up in that rut of just performance, right? But if there is a purpose attached to that performance, I think one, it automatically, takes the stress away, because you know why you are in the situation that you are in, right? What are you in it for? What are you looking for? I think that is very important. Second thing, which, I was brought up to do, and, like I said, right in the beginning, the upbringing, and I think I must thank my father for it time and again, who very early on told me one should be able to compartmentalize one's thinking, right? So when you are at work, and I know that the pandemic has made it very difficult, because, people used to say, you don't take work home, but then, we were doing exactly that. We were taking as home as work could come, right? So definitely it has been harsh, but I think compartmentalized thinking in terms of why you're doing what you're doing, have you given your level best to that, and then you shut that, move on and move to your next play, right? I think what is it for every individual, what helps you unwind and what helps take your stress away are different things. Few people meditate, right? Few people like waking up in the morning and giving that quiet time to oneself for those 30 minutes or 45 minutes and saying, okay, I shut down and I'm myself and I meditate, and you sort of calm yourself down and get the day on. It works. Some people get into yoga so that you give yourself time. Some people like reading. Somewhere, I think it all boils down to three things. One, giving yourself some time. Spend time with yourself. to talk to yourself, understand what you want to do, and see where you want to go. Are you on that path? Pause. It's okay to pause a little bit and give yourself 5 times, because nobody else is going to do that for you. So you have to figure out those. It could be 10 minutes, but I think if you can give yourself those 10 minutes, you can already take control of few things and move forward. Two, I think having the support system. If you are working with people whom you like working as a team in the company, automatically the stress levels go down. There are times when we are handling extremely stressful events at work, but it is the friendliness, the camaraderie that you have in the team, which we face, while we work with our peers and friends in group circles, I think that helps take the stress away. Has the situation changed? No, it is not. It is just the way we'll end up handling it that changes considerably. So I think working with people whom you enjoy working with brings in a lot of value. I have seen that through across the teams that I have worked with. There have been times I've worked with people who have that capacity of adding stress. Whereas there are times when you work with people like the current team we work with, who has a capacity to take stress off. You all are in it together. So you're all shouldering it together, so to say. So I think work with people whom you like to work. It will be nice if you have the luxury of choice to work in the field that you like to work. Now, I think if you can make the choice earlier on, if you can figure a way to do that, that again takes considerable stress out of it. I think as companies, what a lot of HRs are doing now more than even before is, to do these virtual connects with people, try to do these coffee sessions with people, try to call smaller groups back to office to communicate, to talk, and to take, have events planned. I think those things are being done. However, since different things work for different people when it comes to stress levels, I think a lot is going to boil down to how we are going to equip ourselves to deal with situations. Like they say, if you cannot do anything about it, start with first accepting it. And then you start maneuvering on the change step by step. So, I'm sorry that, your sister had to go through so much of stress. However, I think there are learnings there that, what is it that probably stressed her out? And then can she eliminate those parts of the stress elements and still get back into the groove? So I would wish all the best. And I would hope that all of us learn to manage our stress levels well.
Sure. So thanks, Jayada, for that. I think we are out of time. There are a couple of questions there, but I think we can't take them right now. So what we'll do is we'll try to keep doing the sessions together. If there are specific questions to Jayada, please shoot out to us. We will pass on to Jayada, and if we can find an answer, we can actually help you back. But otherwise, I think it was a very interesting session, Jayada. We really loved the way you answered them. All the insights specifically, it was absolute pleasure to have you here. So for everyone out there who joined the session, participated in the session, so the Restart is a program where we actually help you not only find these opportunities, but keep doing sessions like this. So in case you're looking out for specific opportunities, so there's a link that Gagan shared in the chat. Just click on that link and apply to the openings. We are reaching out with companies who are looking forward for asking, like all the women who want to return. We are actually trying to match them with the companies that are looking forward to hire them. So we will be looking forward to match you as well and possibly help you find a job there. Until then, I think let's keep doing these sessions. Please keep attending those sessions. We'll be sharing those in the same groups that you are already in. Jay, the final couple of words from you before we end the session. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this, Paresh. It's been wonderful. You are aware more than anybody else that on this group that it's always been. I feel very passionately about, women coming back to work and learning to balance it, and what we need to do as individuals, as companies, as society to actually build on that ecosystem and help everybody grow together. So while, from my company's perspective, I would always say that, we have always encouraged women in mobility. For anybody any talented person out there, be it a woman, be it a man, anybody who thinks who can bring in value, will be more than happy. If you reach out for a particular opportunity and you would like to talk about it and you can really add value, we'll be more than glad to look out for talent and have you on board. We're all in it together. As an individual, as a mom, I would say, we are at the juncture of making that jump from turning it into, the mom battle to the mom balance. If I could do it, you can do it. We can all do it. So I hope we all do it. And I wish everybody the very best. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jayada. With your permission, we'll close the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Paresh.